So welcome back. Next up is Jonas from Akenza, and he's going to tell you everything about their awesome IoT platform. Enjoy his talk.
Hello and welcome to my today's presentation on resilience in smart building ecosystems. My name is Jonas Schmid. I'm co-CEO and VP of Business at Akenza. We are an IoT application enablement platform with a special focus on low power and massive IoT. Have you ever tried to create your own smart app on top of a classic building automation system? I guess that would be kind of difficult. Out of our experience, it's often a question of data accessibility. Data ownership is often unclear, especially if you are not the building owner. You might not have access to the building automation system. The data is not available in a format that you could use it. It's heterogeneous. You don't even know what kind of data you have in a building. And the retrofit of a classic system like that is kind of painful. We all know those arguments, and we all know that this is why LoRa-based solutions are, especially in the upgrade field, are quite a good and smart move to go. It's easy to retrofit them. You can basically retrofit any building with LoRaWAN devices. It's relatively inexpensive compared to an integration of a complex system. And one of the benefits we found out is actually they're kind of movable, meaning companies that are in buildings that they do not own or tenants that think that they might not be standing in the same place can actually take their applications with them to the new place where they work. But how should our clients manage all those vast amounts of options they're given? We see that many customers are faced with a bewildering and growing list of options. They have hardware producers with sensors that produce more or less the same data, and they have vast amounts of connectivity technologies, not only LoRaWAN, but also Sigfox, and then they have narrowband IoT, and they might be thinking of using Bluetooth and please some Wi-Fi. And they have a lot of full plug-and-play vertical solutions on place where they can basically buy one application with a certain specific focus and potentially even a proprietary connectivity and another solution, vertical solution next to it for the next purpose. It's pretty unclear how they would manage that, or if we all would actually get further in that market with this heterogeneity on that market as it is now. We see quite a few common pitfalls coming up and problems with those projects that we would love to drive. There's on one hand the customer that doesn't have a lot of knowledge of IoT technologies and has kind of an idea of the case that he wants to create. They tend to have unclear requirements and a way to over customization, meaning you start with a seemingly easy project and end up with a overcomplicated, overpriced solution that might not create any ROI. You have often underestimated life cycle costs on solutions. We talk about connectivity prices, but actually the service contract for the maintenance of the devices is much higher than that. You face technological lock-in, and dangers of technological lock-in are, for example, the bankruptcy of one of your suppliers. What happens if that hardware provider that you have based your whole solution on suddenly goes bankrupt, as happened last year, for example, with some of them, and your whole solution is based on that one sensor? You risk your whole business. And you have the inevitable technological change, meaning we all know that technology is going to change over the next few years. We're sure of that. And what are you going to do if there is a new connectivity or a cheaper hardware product or a better application on the market and you actually want to adapt? You might be faced with a lock-in on one hand, not only technological, but also maybe contractual. What we need is resilience, and we need standardizations for cases like this. As said before, technological change is inevitable. We all know that LoRaWAN is here now and is going to be here for the next few years, but nobody can say what happens with LoRaWAN in a decade or more. And we need standardized interfaces so that we can exchange the different parts of the IoT technology stack, and we can replace a connectivity, or we can replace a hardware, we can replace an application, or even an application enablement platform such as ours. And what we need to do to enable our clients to actually do their job is we need to prevent long-term technological lock-in. We can not continue selling vertical solutions that will lock our clients into one specific hardware supplier, for example. Smart building ecosystems must be an open and agnostic interface into all directions, as said before. There will always be a best-of-breed component in one part of the stack. This is always in the interest of the clients, but of course it's also in our interest to push forward of having the cheapest and the best products to reach wide adoption of those solutions that we provide. And we need to create those interfaces which are fit for purpose. So meaning I can change and I can exchange. To give you an example how something like this can look like, we are currently working on the global headquarters of Zurich Insurance here in Zurich that is running with such a smart building ecosystem approach. You can see on the left, you can see quite some hardware. We have, for example, an LCS peer sensor here that is responsible for desk and meeting room occupancy. We have a decent lab indoor air ambient sensor for CO2 measurements and other air quality measurements. We have a Xovis people counting camera that is not a LoRaWAN device, but that is quite accurate in measuring how many people are in the building. And we have a Gavazzi smart meter here that measures energy. We have other sources for data, such as building automation data from Siemens, for example, and undefined amount of third-party devices that might also provide us with data. The connectivity stack within that building is, as you know, those up here at least, and this one here is LoRaWAN, but there's of course also other technologies that can be used in that case. For example, MQTT or HTTPS, depending on what I want to connect. And Zurich Insurance has decided to use Akenza here as their IoT instance, basically, where all those data points that are coming in the IoT stack are coming together. We manage the connectivity here. We do the whole device management. That includes activating and deactivating devices. That includes, for example, battery management, if I need to know what my battery levels are of a sensor. And the device data processing, which is the data normalization, but on the other hand, also, for example, adding different data points or points of interest together to hand them on to certain applications. On top of what we do, we have now basically a whole stack of applications that are running and using that data that is provided by the same IoT stack. There is, for example, a speaker from the UK that is using this data for an employee app. They provide an employee application that is used to know where free desks are in free meeting rooms, and you can book your meeting room and so on. There is ISS facility management that is doing the management of the building and has its statistics based on this data on building management and sustainability, whatever I need. There is Sober AG smart cleaning that does the intelligent cleaning solution, again based on that data that we provide with those sensors in front here. And there's of course a whole bunch of third-party consumers and a never-ending list of further applications that could be profiting from that solution we've built here. A case like that creates, or a unified data layer like that allows the customer to control all of the devices, and especially also the device metadata, to control inputs and outputs. We have a lot of discussions here also with data security. So who will actually be the output and who will receive what data point in a standardized manner. I can use the same standardized data for all use cases, meaning I can share standardized data for different applications on top of it, best of breed applications of that sector. I can exchange transmission technologies at any time. I can use more than one of them. And I can, of course, integrate a huge variety of sensor types, always depending on what the case actually needs or what the client needs for that case. So if there is certain other applications that should go live, I can, of course, check, do I already have the data or do I need to add other sensor types to it? This whole system like that is so standardized that I can also do a global rollout with it, meaning I can support local IoT, like local LoRaWAN providers, for example, or cellular network operators, but I can also use another IoT or cellular network operator in a different country, meaning I can use that unified data layer in any country that I want globally. And I'm, of course, also highly integratable with external IT systems over REST API. That was my example of how to create resilience in a smart building ecosystem. I'm looking forward to see you at our virtual booth for live Q&A session right away now. And we are very much looking forward to talk to you and to hear your inputs on how we can extend that unified smart building ecosystem. Thank you very much and have a nice day.